I'm Sam Ewing. I'm a physical therapist with the Warren Center.
Hey, I'm Chandler Finley. I'm a speech therapist at the Warren Center. We provide early childhood intervention for kids birth to 3 in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and we also have 3 clinic locations that provide therapy for children.
So today we are going to go shopping at Target and go through some of the toys you might find here and talk about what we like, what we don't like, and what we'd recommend as good developmental toys. Lots of cool things here. The first thing to talk about is a mat for the floor. Not necessary, but if you have wood floors, it's good to help you feel safe with having your baby on the floor. It's really important to have floor time for your kiddo. Being on the bed or the couch with those soft surfaces, it's kind of hard to push through and do things like tummy time, so this will make it a lot easier for them, but then also protect their little heads. It does not have to be one of these, but just something down there so you're comfortable. The wood floor works fine if you're okay with that. Oh yes, I was going to put it in my card so we can have other fun things on this aisle. I tend to like this one as far as all these flashy light up toys go. This is the one that feels like motivates kids the most. It's easy to like bat at when we're first learning to reach. We can activate it pretty easily, and if we don't have great, fine motor skills in reaching, and it lights up and it's bright, and kids tend to be really motivated by that to move, so I like to use this one.
This one can be good for speech too. You can work on repetitive language, boom, boom, boom. You can sit across from your kid and encourage that social interaction, that eye contact. You can take turns, my turn, your turn.
Perfect. So we're gonna keep this one. Any others over here that you like in particular? Or
nothing in particular that I see. Yeah. Blocks are good if you want to start with blocks as they get a little bit older. Stacking, practicing up, 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 knocking them down.
Awesome.
You like to work on blocks?
Yeah, I like them. Again, the fine motor skills of stacking. For me, knocking down stuff seems to be way more motivational for kids than building it. So when they're little, building it and working on reaching again and moving to block it. So I think that's pretty cool. Down here there's lots of little play mats, which I think are good. I have no in particular one I like, but the idea of letting your kiddo lay flat on the floor and then reach up to things and play with it is really great. And then last thing over here that's fun is a mirror. Kids love to look at themselves, and I find again it's sometimes really motivational to get that head up in tummy time, get that head turning for tracking. Alright, and then while we're here, another great toy I like to talk about is the diaper box. You might not think it's a good toy, but I use it all the time during my sessions. Empty diaper box, full diaper box. We can start by working on sitting in it. We sit our kiddo in it, and then put the toys in it so they're easy to reach, and they're protected on 3 sides, so they're not really going anywhere. You can also practice sitting it on the floor and making it like a tray by cutting one of the sides off and sliding their feet in. Then you can work on some of that reaching and fine motor stuff. As they get older, we put them on the outside on their knees and they can kneel on it. Working on putting some weight through that knees, early crawling, early standing stuff. And then if I slide it forward, we can practice walking on our knees, again, and prep for crawling. And then as they get bigger, it's a great place to start standing. And it's really easy, and everybody has them because you have to have diapers. So, I can find that most people can use that, and kids like that more than the toys half the time, the cardboard box. Down here, as we get to jumpers and walkers, jumpers, I really want to say no timing at all. Kids aren't really meant to jump when they're this age, and it just leads to a lot of bad hip and leg and foot positioning, and it really kind of slows us down in the process of walking. So those, I would say, are a no-go. Walkers, again, don't always put our hips and our feet in a good position, but it's better than a jumper. So if you're a new one over the other, pick the walker. Over here, really my favorite piece of equipment would be this one. I like it because you can see this part here. It can go up and down, so we can make sure your kiddo's feet are flat on the floor, so we're not worried about them just learning to walk on their toes. Again, still wouldn't recommend a lot of time in it, but like I said, you got to get stuff done. Okay, So, real popular chair over here for littles is this Bumbo. We don't really like the Bumbo because it puts the knees above the kid's hips, which is not an ideal sitting position. We want something that is flatter. So when you're looking at chairs, look for something that's flat. So this one, you can see it has a little bit flatter of a surface. So that would be a better chair. Other than that, not too picky on which one you have. I don't, again, not spending a lot of time in it. High chairs are nice because we got the tray. We can work on playing with our hands. We can work on eating. And again, looking for something flat. If we start early, this is a good chair. The sit-me-up chair for those littles just first learning to sit. Definitely not a necessary thing. You can just practice sitting on your lap or, like I said, in the diaper box. But as far as early chairs go, 4 to 6 months, if they have good head control, that would be the best option if you're looking for something to buy. But again, not spending a lot of time in these things. These are for short periods, during mealtime, things like that. The floor time is always going to be the best option for playing.
So love to do puzzles, love to work on puzzles for receptive language. You can set the toy pieces at the end of one room, at the end of the room, and have kids run, tell them, go and get the sheep. Have them go identify the sheep, put it in the puzzle. You can practice labeling the different animals, making those fun animal sounds. I really like this for receptive and expressive language.
As far as motor goes, picking the puzzle piece out is a good place to start working on those fine motor skills. When they're little, these bigger knobs are great. And then, like Chandler, I like to put the toys either on the opposite side of the room or on the floor where all the puzzle's on the table to work on that mobility. As we're learning to crawl, as we're learning to get up and down off the floor, pieces like toys with lots of different pieces that kind of have a plan of where they need to go and that you need to get the pieces in are great for motivating that, because kids don't really like to follow instructions and be like, hey, do 10 of these. So this is a good way to make that happen.
Also, the barn can be really good for working on identifying those different animals, practicing things like open, close. Again, you can have your kids sit on one side, have you sit on the other, really work on that eye contact, taking turns opening and closing the door. You can play a fun game of knock, 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 open, and practice that on each door. Kids love that, think that's a lot of fun to pretend to knock on the doors.
When they're super little, before we even get to that stage too, just putting things in and out is a big milestone. So things like this work good for that. I also like to use lots of kitchen equipment for that. Bowls, spoons, cups. We could practice putting things in and out. So this could be a good tool for that, but you can also find lots of things around the house for that. Alright, I think there were some down this way that were good.
Okay, so yeah, there's this ball toy which works out really great. You can even take away, a few of the balls, just have one, so that you, again, have to work on that turn taking. You can keep control of the ball, have your kid practice saying that word to ask for what they want. You can have them track your point as you're pointing and watching the ball go down, down, down. You can model the same language. This is a really fun game. Kids love it. It has a lot of good cause and effect.
Nothing much more to add with these. Practicing that reach, putting the ball in, lots of moving up and down, and then it's great to visually track the ball going down. It works on those visual skills as well to be able to follow it. Fun one on this aisle, these Mega Blocks, early building skills, fun to put them together for me. Again, there's lots of pieces, which I love. A lot of times, honestly, I'll dump it out, and then our exercise will be, oh no, I made a mess, let's clean it up. And we practice picking up all the pieces and finding the bag to put it back in. So, but I think they're great toys for encouraging, that early building and hand skills.
Yeah, I also love to use these, again, if kids can't open a zipper yet, they have to request for your help, either open or help. You can take a few out at a time, close the bag again, practice that skill again. Same thing, you can work on that routine language, up, 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 knock them down. And then again, like Sam said, working on that cleanup is really important. That will help them know, okay, there's a beginning to this activity, there's a middle where we play with it, and there's a firm end when we clean it up. So that will help with increased attention. So yeah, when it comes to Play-Doh, I use Play-Doh with any and every kid. We love to use Play-Doh to work on requesting again, practice open, maybe give them a little bit, close the lid, and then whenever they want more, because they know there's more of this, you have to practice again open, give them a little more. You can practice action words like roll, smash, cut. If you have a little plastic knife that you can use to cut, you can roll balls, you can roll them to each other. A lot of really good language opportunities with Play-Doh.
Play-Doh is a great, hand strengthening, fine motor sort of activity as well. And then I sometimes use it to work on putting weight through our feet. It's fun to stomp on it and it squishes, so it gives us some good sensory input to our feet and some good visual, reward for putting pressure through that foot. So I find it can sometimes be helpful for that as well. So these are all, really great, good, classic toys. I use this one a lot. Again, there's lots of pieces, so we practice the in and the out. Other things I can use it for is we'll flip it over and put, weight through our hands on it as we're learning to sit, learning to do things like that. And then as you get older, there's lots of, coordination and cognition skills, putting the shapes in the right place. So I find it, is useful from a young age, a lot older. And then ring stacking, again, just lots of pieces to play with, lots of coordination. Let's put those rings on.
Yeah, for this toy, I love to work on answering yes and no questions. Kids love to kind of fake you out and pretend to put, the wrong piece here, and you'll practice, does it fit here? No. Does it fit here? No. Does it fit here? Yes. So really good for working on those kind of later developing language skills that you'll see around age 2 and 3, answering yes and no questions. Like Sam said, you can work on the language of in and out. You could work on those cognitive skills by turning it over, hiding the toys, playing peekaboo with some of those toys under there. I like to use these and take my finger and we'll spin them and make them stop, and we'll practice go and stop. With this, we'll use this to just sing familiar songs that your kid loves.
Next one I want to talk about is this push toy right here. So really, we talked about not using the walkers that we put the kids in. So these are some good alternatives. There is a ton of them out there on the market. It just needs to be something that they can push and play with. This one's nice because the bright flashy stuff can all come off, because a lot of times kids will get too into the toys on the front. Most that I've found, I'll usually have toys on the front and they'll just rather play with that than walk around. So I like that I can pop the piece off. But we're just looking for something that they can have all their weight on their own feet and push around. Like we talked about, diaper boxes work well. There's lots of little kids shopping carts that work really well. But then they have these toys made specifically for that too that I like.
Another great thing is a baby doll. Starting to work on pretend play starts to occur around 15 to 18 months, so you can start really early, taking that baby doll, practicing giving it a hug, patting it, putting it to sleep, those same routines you're doing with your kid. Some of the babies that have like the little bottles, you can practice following directions with giving them a bottle. You can get a blanket, practice, put the blanket on, tell them night-night, make a lot of fun sounds. You can do a lot of fun things with a baby doll.
Awesome. So thought number one on books, as we're looking at really young kids, save yourself the headache. Paper pages are going to be really fun to rip because it's just going to happen.
Yeah.
It's great fine motor skills, but they will do it.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind. They're great books, but maybe not ones to start with.
You want to focus more on these kind of board books that have thicker pages. They're not able to rip them. They can turn them a little bit easier because those fine motor skills aren't fully developed yet, so this kind of helps them be able to turn. I like books that have really simple pictures that you can talk about the picture and not have to read all the words. At this age, it's a lot of words for kids, so if you can focus on that really simple language, you can model the sounds, you can talk about the pictures. These flat books are really fun because you can practice open. Again, works on a little more of that fine motor, but also the language of open, close.
As far as books go to encourage movement and motor skills, you can really use any book you find, and I just like to make actions associated with the words. So this is what I use a lot because it's got lots of different animals, so we'll like hit the bear and we'll all get on the floor and we'll crawl like a bear, or we'll walk around and flap our wings and hold our arms up high, flying like a bird. So just looking to make some sort of association with what you're saying, which you can do almost with any book out there, but kids like that routine. So if you set it up as a routine, sometimes you'll have way more success getting that movement than if you just are trying to ask them to do it. It works really well too with songs, so we can also use songs to encourage bigger movements like jumping or touching our toes and that sort of thing. Trying to throw it into a routine can sometimes help make those things easier to talk your kid into doing.
Yeah, activities like that are really great too for kids that don't necessarily sit and pay attention to a book. Toddlers need a lot of movement. They need to move around. Their bodies are active, so working on some activities like that make the book kind of come to life, help make those action words come to life. They're doing it, they're learning it, so really good for language too.
So, as you can see, running through Target, we got quite a bit of toys here that we like and talked about lots of different ways to use them. Well, these are some of our favorites. A lot of what we talked about can be used with other toys you already have, items at home. A lot of this stuff is super popular, or very similar things are. So there's, your libraries may have garage sales, things like that. Just get creative and try to think of ways to challenge your kids differently with what you do have.